Michaela's great.
Yeah, she's
quiet, low maintenance.
Mm-hmm. She was such a good, sweet, sweet baby. She was. The day she was born, I was induced or whatever, and so I'm like, okay, not feeling any pain. And the nurse is like, well, don't push. I'm like, well, I'm not pushing, but I feel pressure. His eyes just got big, and I'm like, what is it? And she turned around just in time to Odell Beckham her, grab her with one hand. That is Michaela. Like, she's like, let's go. I'm ready to go. Let's do this. So
she always called, Dad. You know, and I hear that voice. I'm like, hey, I got to find a way to go and pick her up. She has a very, very goofy personality, but you'll never see it around most people. But, you know, she has the other side of her that's very vibrant and energetic.
She was everything and more than what I could have expected.
Lauren was a beautiful, smart, funny girl. I mean, she was a whole package.
I always knew that I was going to have a daughter. It was a blessing knowing that what I had spent most of my adult life looking forward to had come true. So
Lauren just wanted to live life since she was born.
Didn't really matter how mundane. I think that picture there, it looks like maybe a Halloween costume or something, but it was probably like a rainy Saturday weekend where she was just bored and didn't have anything to do. It make us go, what the hell are you doing?
She liked to hang out with people, go to parties, ride her bike. She spent more time outside. Always wanted to see other people happy, do anything to make them laugh, smile. She's just a beautiful soul. It was a beautiful Friday afternoon. I was sitting out in the garage and it was almost time, for Lauren to be home.
I was going to dismiss my students after school. Her friend's mother happened to be coming through the gym and she was like, Millie can't find Michaela. So I was like, oh, I forgot to remind her that, she was walking home with her today. I was just like, okay, I'll give her a call to, have her go back.
I had my garage open and a vehicle pulled up. And it was my friend, neighbor, and then she just hit that brake and stopped and jumps out of the truck and, where's Lauren? Where's Lauren?
It did sound like she was in distress, but I thought it was something else. I heard her phone tussling, so I figured she might have picked up and didn't know she picked up. I was like, hey, what's going on? What's going on? And she was trying to get it out. And I'm like, calm down, I can't understand what you're saying.
I was like, she's at school, She should be home soon. And she said, oh my God, kids are down.
A tragic after-school shooting.
2 victims were found in an
13-year-olds Lauren Landavazzo
was shot
were walking home from McNeil Jr.
Michaela suffered gunshot
near
wounds.
Kingston
The
Drive.
community is grieving the
20-year-old Cody Lott. Police arrested Lott yesterday, charged with murder. Lott admitted to shooting the prohibited weapons, aggravated assault.
Cody Lott is facing a maximum.
Although he is not being charged with capital
He could be eligible for parole after serving.
Young girls' parents want to see the act known as Lauren's Law passed
as
by
they go
Texas
through
lawmakers.
what can only be described as a parent's worst nightmare.
They say all they want is justice for Lauren.
The day that, as a parent, that you never, ever want to have to go through. And when I see video of that day, I don't remember it that way. I honestly don't remember that many people out there.
And I looked over the yellow tape and it was my daughter. And I just started screaming. I was in such a shock. And then when I turned around, I saw Vern. And I just said, it's Pooh Bear. And the look on his face, I'll never forget.
I just remember telling her to hold on. I still had hope that she was alive, but I just knew at that point that it was as bad as it could be.
As soon as the girls were in the hospital, they locked the hospital down because they hadn't caught Cody yet. And Bianca and Rodney showed up after we were there, and him and Bianca were locked out of the hospital. The clergy came and got Vern.
When they did put me in the room and they had let Bianca in, Bianca knew why we were in there. I still was trying to tell her no. She's alive and she's gonna be all right.
He didn't want to believe it. And I was just pacing that room. The doctor finally came in and just shook his head. And that was it.
It really did feel like we were not going to survive that. I know personally I didn't think I was going to survive that. I felt like I was going to be dying soon afterwards. My heart would give out. I would not be able to survive.
I just remember screaming because I wanted to go see her, and they said no. So I think I was screaming all the way out of that hospital. I was so angry.
As soon as I turned the corner with him, I hear Bianca cry out. And the way she cried out, I knew that Lauren was gone. I had to go over and say something. And their first question was, how was Michaela? They lost their daughter, and their first concern was she okay?
The nurses come in, and that's when I couldn't convince myself anymore that she was okay. Cause just the atmosphere when they all walked in, it immediately changed. And that's when they were telling me that she didn't make it. And it was just instant survivor's guilt. I couldn't even cry. Cause I was still in pain from being shot. It hurt too much. I lost one of the people that was that I hold close to my heart.
The first thing she said was, it shouldn't have been her, it should have been me.
I mean, she was definitely the light of our home. Everyone loved to be around Lauren. She just had a glow about her. It's like she would just attract people to her. Hard to come home to a quiet house. Still is.
You have to do it one day at a time. You have to wake up to a nightmare every morning. Instead of waking up from nightmares, you wake up to a nightmare. Every morning you wake up that way and you realize, oh, I'm still here. I'm not done with my test. I have to keep moving.
You have one family who's lost their child, and then you have us who have our child, but our child not sure that she wants to be here, And so it's
no sleep.
Waking up every hour, going in there, checking, seeing, is she okay? And, you're dealing with some of, Michaela's reactions. It was very, very tough.
I developed depression and anxiety and PTSD. Mental illness is way more complex than people would think it would be. Yes, there are obvious symptoms and signs that someone has depression or anxiety, but it's worse than that. You stop taking care of yourself. It really just kind of took a hold of everything and how I saw myself and valued myself. I didn't feel as though I was a survivor. I felt like I should have went, or she should have been alive, because I felt there was more to her than there ever could have been for me. I was just existing without a purpose.
Any traumatic event that has hit a child, to understand the mental health that a child would need is so important. I think as soon as she was able to get out and get about, that was the first thing that we jumped up on. And within the African American community, sometimes it's frowned upon for us to seek outside help. You grow up hearing what happens in this house, stays in this house. And to be honest, I grew up with those same language, but looking at her, I knew that she needed more than we as her parents could give her. With the outside help and, with the Lord, we knew, we would get through this. And it's so important, and I tell people all the time that your child is going to need some counseling. They're going to need some some outside help.
Nothing to be ashamed of.
And it's nothing to be ashamed of.
Probably what kept me going through that first couple of weeks afterwards was just how much stuff that you have to do. I didn't want to have somebody get up and try to tell. First of all, somebody that didn't know her try to get up at her funeral and talk about her life. That was my job to do that. And there's all the things that you have to do. You have to write an obituary, things you don't ever think about. Again, when you're talking about summarizing the life of your most precious gift, it's not something that you just want to leave to anybody. It's something you have to do yourself. So those are things that keep you focused and keep you moving.
After he was caught, That was a huge relief because we were told they may never catch who did it. That's not something a parent wants to hear. But because of her age, she was 13, she had to be under 10 for it to be capital murder. Angry. I couldn't even believe what I was hearing.
We always knew we had to get justice for our daughter. We already knew that the law had to change. It didn't make any sense to have a law like that.
They had come to me with a proposal, and so we started working through it. So it was a little bit late in getting filed. We were not able to get it past that session.
So it gave us things to fight for, and to be able to go and talk to James Frank about the law and find out that, okay, it's too late, we can't do it this time, but something to look forward to.
We did have, however, the whole next interim between 2017 and 2019. We prepared it, both filed it early, and were able to get it passed in 2017. The Landavazos were just awesome the whole time, including coming down to session and testifying. It also helped work through some of the details. We ended up doing where they could get life without parole if they killed a child between the ages of 15 and 10 to give more protection for children.
It was always, always about the overwhelming sense of we don't want anybody else to have to go through this pain.
It's a good experience, honestly. Met a lot of good people along the way. And so then we realized that, doing things like that does help us heal and giving back to the community, because the community has just been awesome, very supportive.
And the police department handled it such in a sensitive way. They really did. Very sincere.
We still have people that will, see us out and will stop us, and they would just say, hey, we're still praying for your daughter and your family.
My dog Blue, she was donated from the Humane Society as a therapy dog, and so she's definitely made a big difference. All those times I was holed up in my room, at least I wasn't by myself. I still had the company of Blue, or Blue Girls. I call her Blue Girls. Our personalities are very similar. You think the way I talk to her, joke around with her, you think I had a friend in there or whatever, or I was on FaceTime with someone. She's just a big part of my heart, a big part of my healing that I had.
It seemed like everyone wanted to encourage the family any way they could. We were blessed to have a great friend ask permission to reach out to someone who may be willing to help.
In that time, it's still having the bullet in your body is still a pretty good reminder of that day. I couldn't do regular things without feeling it. And so getting that removed, it was it felt like a leap more than a step of just beginning my process of healing.
To get help from strangers and people that don't even know you and express that kind of love. I mean, just to know people are thinking about you, man, it makes you want to pay it forward even more.
We've been blessed to live in this community that's embraced us and supported us. But as good as this place is and as wonderful as some of the people are, we still have issues that we need to address. And
we got a lot of problems with mental health. That's probably our next adventure, I guess. But yeah, our next fight, because it's always a fight.
There's issues in the world, but we can't fix everything. You have to start where you are. You have to start in your own neighborhoods. And really, it starts before that. It starts with everybody inside winning your own battle between good and evil. And if you go out in the world like our daughter was, positive and good, one person at a time, we can change the world.
We'll keep on fighting till the battle is over. We'll keep on fighting till the victory is won. We're determined to make it, keep running till the end.